and welcome to everyone except for those on Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, you're not watching. So, but go over to YouTube. Hopefully you're watching on YouTube right now. Yeah, I'll explain that later. I knew it was going to be, I didn't know for sure, but I was pretty sure it was going to be a problem. But we're not going to think, I know, we're not going to think, not going to think about it right now. Not for a moment. I'm going to explain in a sec. But we're going to start. Wendy has some melodies to get us into the spirit of Shabbat. And today was really a spring day. There was a little rain. There was a little sun. There was definitely a feeling like May. And of course, it's Cinco de Mayo today. So Feliz Año, whatever, Feliz. The happy, that's the end of my Spanish. The happy Cinco de Mayo, everyone. But we also have an opening, I guess is kind of an ethnic, this isn't a special opening in tribute to Harry Belafonte, right? So this is a Shabbat opening for us. Here we go.
Okay, so we're going to pull up the first slide, hopefully. After every line I say, you say, Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom. Mr. Michael, can we get our first slide up? Shabbat Shalom, Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom. Okay, so just to make sure everybody knows what to do. The first time we go, Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom, we make our voice go up. And the second time, Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom, the voice goes down. All right, everybody get your voices going. Here we go. From the beginning. Shabbat Shalom, Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom. We light the candles and drink the wine. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom, and thank God for the fruit of the vine. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom. Then we go back to the beginning. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom. Then we go to the bottom. We say Hamotzi and eat the bread. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom. We go to temple and we go to bed. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. Ma Yafeh Hayom Shalom.
That's pretty good. So now we took Harry Belafonte's song. Well, he popularized he popularized a lot of Jewish folk music, Israeli folk music. He was one of the first to start singing. He wasn't. He was, well, great. I think it was great. Whatever. But I mean, his reason for doing Hava Nagila and those different kinds of tunes was because he liked them, and he popularized them at a time when again people started dabbling in that. Pete Seeger and some of the other people that were doing Jewish music during the '60s. Yeah, they started recording those kinds of songs like Tzena Tzena and those different ones that were pretty big in the '60s. So I mentioned cryptically before we started that tonight we had a little weird thing before. We knew it at about 5 o'clock. We knew that we had a little bit of a a problem. So we knew it. I've been working on this for the last 2 hours. We knew that we couldn't post our Shabbat, our pre-recorded Shabbat service on Facebook because Facebook had stopped us from being able to broadcast live video. So I've known about. I've been working for the last 2 hours. I didn't have dinner in the end tonight because I was trying to fix this problem, because then I knew that we were going to have a problem live streaming this service because it's the same technology, it's the same kind of thing that we're asking Facebook to do. And for those who were here Tuesday for our Torah study, our Beyond the Torah study, this is when the problem started, and people were sitting here in this room, and then people were also watching on Zoom and participating on Zoom, and there were people on Facebook. When it happened, we got thrown off of Facebook in the middle of the class, and it happened once, and then as Mike says, it happened 5 times. Actually, yeah, it happened at least 6 times because there were 6 clips that I tried to get us back on. And so what happened is that we got a message that flew across the screen very quickly that said we violated the community standards for sexuality and nudity. Now, I'm pretty sure there was no nudity at any time, though I will tell you, as many people have said, that if we start promoting that, we'll have thousands of people watching our Torah study. But we really couldn't figure out what we had said or what was discussed in the text that might have caused this to happen. And what?
I said, was someone without their shirt?
No, nobody was without their shirt. There was nothing. And so we I kept trying to force it, and eventually we did get back on at the end. But I think, well, I can tell you that 22 minutes of the 2 hours ended up getting streamed. That's it. So we lost, or the people who were watching lost out on that. And again, though most people are on Zoom, there's like half a dozen to a dozen people that are on Zoom every week. And then there was about 9 or 10 people, 8 or 9 people, I don't remember who were here on Tuesday exactly. There's about that many that were here. And then there were a few people that were on Facebook. So what happened is that, and luckily Mike Schwartz has a cousin who works for Meta. He's not in the blue space, as they call it. That's what he explained. The blue space is the Facebook side. He's on a other technical side, but he's high up. But he basically said he would see what he could do and try to fix it for us so it doesn't happen again. But that was at like 4 o'clock or 3, something like 3:30 or so. I spoke to him because I had a feeling it was going to happen at 5, and sure enough, it did. And I didn't know for sure, and you can't say you have a problem until you have the problem, and so it did. And so our 5 o'clock service couldn't get posted up because it says that we've violated standards, and so we immediately sent in a dispute, and then it'll take, I don't know how long to hear from it, but we won't hear from a human being. None of this happened with any contact with a human being. We were kicked off probably, and everybody said this, because a bot found something or heard something or did something. A computer program basically said that something was said or somehow in some format or whatever that alerted it. So it was never a person. There was never a person who ever heard something or said something, most likely. But yet it happened. So what was interesting about it is the net effect, and again, even if it was done through AI, which it was, through AI technology most likely, the net effect is still what we got censored for no reason, and we can't speak to a person. So in that way, and again, I don't want to claim that there was horrible damage done to us. We weren't, we weren't humiliated or I don't know if there's damages or anything like that, but I can tell you that we were censored. We were taken off of the public sphere, a sphere that we depend on for communication, and so the net effect is censorship. The net effect is, we do, but again, I don't know, and we're still developing this, because 15 years ago, if I had told you that we were thrown out of Facebook, you would have said, what are you talking about? Because the only people who knew what Facebook was 15 years ago were people who were students at Harvard who were taking part in a social connection program. So this whole thing right now is we're already in a whole new world, but it's an important world, and it's a world that I've come to depend on for communication. So it would be the same as if somebody had ripped us off of the ability to be in a newspaper or on a radio channel. it's no different because it wasn't about the social media, it was about communication. It was about being able to connect and to communicate to people in a forum, in a sphere that we've grown accustomed and dependent on. So that's what happened. And so again, I don't want to say that it's Orwellian, though it is in a little way, because there is nothing you can do about it. There is no person that you can go to and claim, hey, can't you fix this? Don't you see how ridiculous this is? So in that way, it is a little Orwellian. I don't think that I'm going to be arrested or, there's no torture at the end of this scenario, not yet. But the reality is that it is a form of censorship. It is censorship. So I apologize in advance to the people who do join us on Facebook, because every week, anywhere between 40, 50, sometimes hundreds of people join us on Facebook who won't be able to tonight for Shabbat. And we are streaming this now on YouTube, which is another alternative. There are alternatives, but the alternatives and the people who've become dependent on us connecting through Facebook now don't get to be part of this Shabbat experience. It's really no different than if they were not allowed to come down the street and come into our building, as far as I'm concerned. So we're working on it. All I can tell you is that we're gonna try to fix it and try to have an answer, but I don't even know by Tuesday whether we'll have an answer for our next class. So this is the world we're living in right now, folks, and I never thought I'd ever be telling people that essentially our ability to communicate has been diminished, but it has. It has. So, on a happier note, we're here. Those who are here in person get to connect, but for our friends, and I promised some of the people who I know right now are watching in hospital beds and who do connect to us from time to time on Facebook, that hopefully they have the connection. We posted it on Facebook to tell people they can go onto YouTube right now, and hopefully they'll connect with us and be part of our community. And so the next song we're going to do, Hine Matov, is a melody, the melody Wendy wrote, but the message for this song is how good it is for us to be together. And again, however we're connected, wherever we are, when we think and say this prayer, we think about how good those connections are. And sometimes they're virtual.
Please join me in singing Hine Matov.
We're going to continue with some of the Shabbat melodies that we have, some of the Zemirot, the opening songs on page 2, some of the songs that we have here. We're going to do Yedi Nefesh, which is like 3 songs down.
So melachotecha, shomre, 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 Shabbat bekore, oneg Shabbat, yismechu melachotecha, shomre, 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 Shabbat bekore, oneg Shabbat.
Yismechu that we just sang and we read it on Tuesday. Those who call Shabbat Kore Oneg Shabbat. You know, we say Kore Oneg, that we call Shabbat a day of joy. We call it pleasure. So Shabbat, we think sometimes is a time that we're not supposed to do certain things, not supposed to work or do other things that take us away from family, from friends, from good feelings. The reason is because it's supposed to be a day of joy. So we're supposed to do things on this day that Isaiah reminded us that this is supposed to be a day of joy. It's not a day of giving up things. It's a day of doing things that make us happy. And so hopefully everyone over the next 24 hours or so will be able to do something that brings them joy. So you can think about what brings you joy. People of all ages are supposed to have joy on this day. And yeah, curse you, Facebook. Because they took away from my precious pre-Shabbat ritual of being in the jacuzzi, which I didn't get to do today. So anyways, that's part of my that's part of the pre-joy aspect of it, but I'll do it later. Anyways, in your song, I was thinking about Deo. He says you go to synagogue and then come home and go to bed, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to go right to bed when I get home. So that is no, but you know, you got to do stuff that's happy too, not just sleeping. Though sleeping can be joyous sometimes, I think. If you're really, really tired, it's really, almost anything can be real joyous when you've been deprived of it. But anyways, we're going to continue with one of our Shabbat songs that also reminds us that not only is this a day of joy, a day of holiness too, a day where the angels are going to be with us on Shabbat. So on page 3, we're going to continue with Shalom Aleichem, the angels of peace.
Melech, Melech, Malachei everybody. La, 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 la. La, 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 la. La, 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 la,
And we're going to take a moment now to light our Shabbat candles. On page 5, we're going to say the blessing over the Shabbos candles. And we wanted to ask Randy Miller to help us light. And she sponsored the Oneg today in honor of Nurses Appreciation, though she just retired as many years, decades as a nurse, as somebody who took care of people in lots of places. We want to thank her and all the nurses that take care of us. And on page 5, you can find the blessing for lighting the
So if you
candles
need a nurse, thank her.
every day.
Thank you.
La 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 la
Keep going.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav, Etzivanu lehadlik ner, Etzivanu lehadlik ner, Etzivanu lehadlik ner, Shel Shabbat.
Let there be joy.
Let there be peace.
Let there be light.
Let there be Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. You did it.
You're welcome.
And we're very excited that Randy and Vern are going to be joining us on our Israel trip, along with this whole row that'll be with us in Israel in about 6 weeks. Think about that, including our B'nai Mitzvah kids that are going to be reading Torah. Looking around there, Zoe and Jordan and Max are thinking about it. They're going to be reading from Korach, a portion that we just read on Wednesday night, and we read about Korach. And we talked about it, and they get to read that portion and think about what that portion means for us in this generation. Shabbat is a time for us to think about our families, wherever they are, all the generations going back to those people that are mentioned in the Torah. If you want to take a moment on page 5, you can see the blessings that we say for our families as we think about them, wherever they are. And again, the blessings through the generations for the male line of our families and our group. We say, Yesimcha Elohim ke'Ephraim v'chi Menashe. And for the women, for the female line, we say, Yesimech Elohim ke'Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah. And for everyone, we offer our blessing of protection and peace. Yivarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha, Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'yichunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May God bless you and protect you. May God's presence enlighten you and be gracious to you. And may God reach out to you in tenderness and give you peace. And think a special thought for your family, for your people, wherever they are, your friends. And give them a blessing on Shabbos. And on page 6, as we're going to continue with our Shabbat songs, our Kabbalat Shabbat really is highlighted by this song of welcome, L'cha Dodi, which, again, we're going to do this melody that Wendy wrote. And for the last verse, that last verse will rise and we'll face the door. But we'll start on page 6, seated, L'cha Dodi.
So you can repeat after me each phrase until the last one, and we sing together. Lecha, Dodi, לקראת קהלה פני Shabbat. And the last together. נקבלה שמור וזכר בדיבור אחד ישמענו אל אחד אדוני אחד ושמו אחד ושם אל תפארת ולתהילה לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה לקראת שבת לכו ונחה כי כמחור הברכה מראש מקדם ניסוחה מעשה ומחשבתי לה לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה הואיל ושלום עטרת בעלה גם בשמחה ובצהלה תוכם עניה בסגולה בואי חלה בואי חלה בואי חלה בואי חלה לך דודי לקראת קהלה פני שבת נקבלה לך דודי לך דודי
7 as we turn towards the ark now for the call to worship for Baruch Hu, page 7. La 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 la.
Baruch Hu
Please be seated, everyone. As we continue with Ma'ariv Aravim, the prayer over the night sky on page 7, is our time to reflect on time, on the changes of seasons, of night to day and then back into night. And as we think about the seasons and where we are, somebody said to me this week, of course, it's May already, and of course, all of us feel that way. It's hard to believe that we've entered into another month on the calendar, another month on, as we go through the Jewish calendar, means that a month ago we had Passover. So we're already a month into the way our ancestors kind of saw spring happening, and that's why this weekend we're having our Lag BaOmer picnic on on Sunday at 11. We're going to be in the park over at Meadows. You can join us out there. And that was a tradition of celebrating around the 30th of about, 33 days, but basically a month into the counting of days and the harvest between Passover and Shavuot, that we would come to this time, and it would be springtime, and there's other traditions attached to Lag BaOmer, but one of the most important was, again, to be outside. And so in Israel, they light bonfires, they have activities and stuff outside in Israel today, and it's a time of thinking about where we are in the year. And some of them were probably attached to similar May Day celebrations that other cultures had for many, many years. There were some May Day celebrations. And it's a time of thinking of the seasons and where we are. And every night we have a chance to do that when we see the night sky and see the stars in the heavens and the beautiful sunset. And we say, El Chai V'Kayam Tamid Yimloch Aleinu Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai HaMa'ariv Aravim. We praise you, God, who brings on the night sky. And as we continue on page 8 now with the night prayer of love, of Ahava, Ahavat Olam.
אהבת עולם, בית ישראל, עמך אהבת, עמך אהבת. תורה ומצוות, חוקים ומשפטים, אותנו למדת, אותנו למדת. על כן אדוני אלוהינו בשלומנו, בקומנו נעשה בחלקך, ונזרוק בדברי תורתך, ומצוותך לעולם ועד. יחם חיינו, ליאורך ימינו, ובכם נגע יומם ולילה, נגע יומם ולילה. אהבת אל תסיר, ממנו לעולמים, ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו
With Shema Ve'ahavta. So we focus our intention or our kavanah on the oneness that connects everything.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu,
Ahavta et Adonai Elohecha bechol levavcha uvechol nafshecha uvechol meodecha v'hayu advarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom alevavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam v'shivtecha b'veitecha uv'lechtecha v'derech uv'shachbecha uv'kumecha ukshartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot beinenecha uchtavtam al mezuzot beitecha uvihi sha'arecha למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם אלוהים אני אדוני אלוהיכם. So, as we're going to continue with the Shema and its blessings, on page 10, we have the Song of Redemption, the words that we also say as part of this time during our service, morning and in the evening time. We think of our redemption, we think of crossing the Sea of Reeds. So, on page 10, this is Mi Chamocha, and again, we're going to do the version, the melody that you wrote, right, Wendy?
Uncle Cracker.
Well,
Or somebody wrote it
you
for me.
adapted it.
I adapted it. I put the English parts to it. So we have it on the screen. And there's a part in here, I'm always waiting for somebody to go, and Moses said. So when we come up to that, you gotta go in your deep voice. And Moses said. Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, nor antahidot osefele, nor antahidot osefele. And Moses said, follow me if you want to be free. I'll be the one to lead you through the Red Sea. Then Miriam and all the women danced with glee as Adonai led the people through the Red Sea. Who is like you, O Lord, among the mighty? Who is like you, glorious in holiness? We've hidden praises, doing wondrous deeds. So now the people of Israel could cross the Red Sea. And Moses said, follow me if you want to be free. I'll be the one to lead you through the Red Sea. And Miriam and all the women danced with glee as Adonai led the people through the Red Sea. Malachutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze Elianu v'yameru, Adonai yamloch le'olam va'ed. Adonai will reign forever and ever. The people chanted as they crossed away to freedom, leaving Egypt for the promised land. They sang and danced and clapped their hands. And Moses said, follow me if you want to be free. I want to lead you through the Red Sea. Then Miriam and all the women danced with glee as Adonai led the people through the Red Sea. Follow me if you want to be free. I'll be the one to lead you through the Red Sea. Then Miriam and all the women danced with glee as Adonai led the people through the Red Sea.
So we're going to continue now with on page 11 with another one of the prayers that kind of inhabits this space before the Amidah. This is Hashkivenu, which is the nighttime prayer for peace, for safety, for security, for protection from illness, from war, from famine, and from all the bad stuff out there. So Hashkivenu is our nighttime prayer, hoping that we have a good night's sleep and wake up to a world at peace.
Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Ushmor Tzeteinu Uvoeinu L'chaim Shalom Me'ata ve'ad olam. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu Leshalom, V'hamidenu Malkeinu L'chaim. Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha. Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha.
And as we pray for Israel, for our holy city of Jerusalem, Baruch atah Adonai haporei sukat shalom, aleinu v'al kol amo Yisrael v'al Yerushalayim. And again, for those of us who are going to be in Israel in a few weeks, we're celebrating kind of in an interesting thing, the Israel Independence Day, Yom HaAtzmaut. We, of course, commemorated last week. But on the secular calendar, it's coming up. Well, it's coming up at the end of next week. So there are things going on for Yom HaAtzmaut on the secular day now, or near the secular day. For example, the Federation just announced that they're going to be doing a community thing, which is more for the Israeli community, but it is open to everybody. But it's going to be down at the Saban Theater in the city on the 17th. They're going to be doing an Israel concert. But again, as I mentioned before, it was kind of disappointing how little there was in Los Angeles. And again, in some cities there were some festivals and some things, but we didn't even do an Israel festival. And last weekend there was for example, in Arizona there was a Israel day at the JCC, and they had like 2,300 people that showed up at their JCC in Scottsdale for Israel festival. And other cities did things last weekend, and some are doing them next weekend. I don't think a lot of them are doing the weekend after, because that's Mother's Day weekend. But it's interesting too to notice that we follow the Jewish calendar generally. We celebrate Israel Independence Day on when it falls on the Hebrew calendar, which is connected to the month of Iyar, to the 5th day of Iyar. But when it happened on May 14th, 1948, that's when it was on the calendar that most people in the world use. Interestingly, for Palestinians, that's considered their day of destruction. They call it the Nakba. So it's interesting because we celebrate it on our Hebrew calendar, we actually don't have to worry about competing narratives on that day. We actually can say, well, we already celebrated, except for every 19 years from 1948. It actually happens on the same date. But if it's that date, then it actually is the same date. But usually it's not, and so they're not the same days. The Israel Independence Day and the tragic day for Palestinians, which, by the way, you and I don't know this because we're not on college campuses. But if you're on many college campuses, around the country, that's a day when Jewish students and students who support Israel are oftentimes harassed because it's a day of Palestinian solidarity. So again, most of us don't encounter that because we're not in that world, but there are people who are in that world here in America. So that is coming up in the coming days. So it'll be interesting to see what happens and how it's marked in our news for the 75th anniversary of Israel. So we're going to continue on page 12 with our songs for Shabbat, and in particular, again, one of these songs that we only do on Shabbos, not on other days, but today we say V'shamru on page 12.
And this is where everybody really lets their voices ring out as loud as you can.
Come to and enter into the Amidah. On page 13, we're going to ask everyone to rise. We'll chant the first part out loud and then continue silently through page 15, the Amidah for Shabbat.
Feel
Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Leah ve'Elohei Rachel Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Ve'Konei Ha'akol Ve'Zocher Chazdei Avot V'imaot U'Mevi Gula Lifnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen Baruch Ata Adonai Magen Avraham Ve'Ezrat Sarah Ata Gibor Le'olam Adonai Mechaye HaKol Ata Rav Lechoshia Mechakel Chaim Bechesed Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim Somech Noflim Verofech Olim Umatir Asurim Umekayem Emunato Lishnei Afar Micha Mocha Baal Gevurot Umido Melach Melech Meimid Umechaye Umatzmiach Yeshua B'ne'eman Ata Lechayot HaKol Baruch Ata Adonai Mechaye HaKol. We should go back to Osei Shalom. We haven't done it all. Yeah. So we're going to continue with on page 15 with our prayer for peace. We're going to sing Osei Shalom, towards the bottom of page 15.
Shalom Aleinu.
take a moment to pray for healing, for strength in the face of illness, courage as we take care of those who are ill. And again, thinking about, as Randy reminded us, all the nurses and health professionals who do this on a daily basis, who are real heroes, and hospice nurses like Mary and people who've been doing, dedicated their lives to helping people and keeping them comfortable. We did have teacher appreciation this week too. I want to point that out too. For our teachers, we also need to appreciate our teachers. So we had our teacher appreciation, was it Monday or Tuesday or something like that? When was it, teachers? It was the whole week? The whole week is teacher appreciation? Is it? You guys get a week too, huh? That's good. You deserve it. You deserve at least a week. So, yeah. No, because my daughter's a teacher now, and so she reminds me of these things too. But it was a lot of stuff. It was Star Wars Day and Cinco de Mayo. There's so much. It's Jewish History Month too, don't forget. May is Jewish History Month, and it's Women's Month too. There's so many different things. We've got too many. But in the midst of all that, we have people who are, of course, who are not feeling their best. And we have people, as I mentioned, we probably had people in the hospital right now watching. I actually just checked. We've had a couple people on the entire time. We lost one at 8 o'clock, probably had to watch something on TV. But we had people on Facebook on YouTube the whole time that normally maybe we're watching on Facebook. This is the first time we ever have streamed this on YouTube. So for the couple people who are watching right now and who are joining us, for those couple of people, this was an important thing that we're able to open up. So I'm glad we could do it. And thank you to Michael for helping me get that up on YouTube right away. So who knows, maybe that'll be our new home. But it's important, again, as we said, to be able to be in all the places, all the spheres where people can be. And again, maybe some of those people were in the hospital, people that we're thinking of now. And I've told them, because I just spoke to the Pollocks just before I came into the synagogue, and some other people. I spoke to Bob Levine, whose wife Michelle is in the hospital at Kaiser. There's a lot of people in the hospital right now. So if they're watching, if you're with us, we're thinking about you. Please say the names out loud of the people that you're thinking of in particular now who are in need of healing, so we can pray for their refuah, for their healing.
Darren Shepard and Mike Schwartz. Andrea Pollock, Pam Moss.
Brian Wilhite.
Andrea Pollock and Pam Moss.
Sheldon.
I'm okay. The stitches are up.
Joanne Shepard and Catherine Strait.
Walter Garash.
Andrea Pollock, Mark Walker, Karen Barnett, Jerry Cattell, Sue Jackson, and Holly Dexter.
Michelle Levine, Rita Rafat.
Robin Haynes and Al Haynes. And Ellie
At the bottom of page 15, Nisha Berach, our prayer for healing. And again, as we continue on page 35 now with Aleinu and thinking about where we are and where we are in history, we think about our ancient connections to the Torah, to the Bible, and Aleinu quotes some of those visions from our prophets. And then we also are in this moment looking also to the future, to a time when the world will be at peace, where the world will be one. A vision of those prophets thousands of years ago. A look ahead as well and hope. And on page 35, we rise together for Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, l'tegedu l'alion separashit, shelo sonik gai haratzon, velo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam chalkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu k'chol hamonu, v'anachnu korayim,
ומשתחווים ומודים
לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא שהוא נוטל שמיים ויוסד הארץ ומשה יקרו בשמיים ממעל ושכינת זו בגובה מרומי הוא אלוהינו אינו אמת מלכנו פצולתו ככתוב בתורתו וידעת היום והשיבותו אל לבבך כי אדוני הוא אלוהים בשמיים ממעל והארץ מתחת עינות ונאמן היה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד ושמו
Please be seated, everyone. So we turn to page 36 for Mourner's Kaddish for our time of remembrance. As we look back over the years and remember the yard sites, the losses of this time of year, Daniel Cohen, Louise Cohen, Sheldon Scott, Sybil Lipson, Marv Ellis, Herman Lifton, Ella Thaw, Anna Rosenberg, Len Birnbaum, Isaac Renson, Philip Esco, Brian Cohen, Sarah Aiken, Marta Brotslavsky, Susie Petrover, and Jack Wolf. We remember over this last year Dolores Pearl, Mo Blumen, Eric Milak, Barbara Hopkins, Matthew Himlin, Anita Locker, Mina Hersh, Harriet Lipschitz, Sherwin Golden, Debbie Schulman, Marvin Jubis, Jerry Weiss, Beverly Mandelblatt, Joyce Sakertov, George Tabak, Mary Lou Block, and Gloria Wasserman. If there are people that you're personally remembering whose names we haven't said, we ask you to say them now out loud before we say Kaddish.
Barry Donegan. David Gisler.
And we remember the victims of war and terror these last days as well, as we rise on page 36 to remember the people we love, honor them with the Mourner's Kaddish. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, ve'alma divrach chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon uvyomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agalau v'zman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam l'olmei almaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbachata v'nechemata, Da'amiran be'alma ve'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shamaya v'chayim aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. Osei shalom bimrumav hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imru amen. May the source of peace send peace to all who mourn, comfort to all who are bereaved, and we say together, amen, amen, amen. Please be seated, everyone. And I want to thank Randy Miller for helping us already, our newest board member, our newest addition to our board, who's helped us with our yard site list. And if you have any corrections or additions or people you think are not on our list, please email me or email Randy. But most people have our email through the temple. You can make sure we have a person dedicated to just doing that. So we want to thank Randy for stepping up and doing that, and making sure that holy list is accurate as it can be. Still subject to human error, but we'll do our best. And again, when we think about the things that we have coming up, we have our May 7th Log Bomer picnic again this Sunday at 11 at Valencia Meadows Park. So we want to remind people, if you can, to join us just around the corner down the street at the park. You can ride your bike there. I don't know. You can ride your bike there. It's not far. You've done it before. You can do it. You can ride your bike down there. That is the next event, but of course we have our classes coming up this week. Tuesday we'll be online, our Beyond the Torah study, and we'll see if we get kicked off again. Who knows? But by the way, we're going to get around them tonight, or we're going to try, because we're going to post what we just recorded on YouTube on Facebook. So Michael's going to post it up and see if it gets kicked off. Now that I've said that, it'll probably get kicked off. So I now have bad-mouthed Facebook, which is, I think, a bigger crime than anything. So I probably will. But we're going to try. And again, it was amazing that we were able to get the people on. But again, this is a serious, I joke about it because I'm kind of out of frustration, but it's a serious issue. Because on a normal week like this, when we have a live in-person service, we have the two services that we run at 5 o'clock and 8 o'clock, we would have had about 150 people minimum, between 40 and 50, actually between 40 and 70 people in each of the 5 and 8 o'clock viewings, and then again the 7 o'clock live service. So just understand that there's 150 people plus some weeks, and that's when we don't boost it. If we boost it, it's hundreds and hundreds of people. So you can understand that the audience of people, the people that are able to connect through that, is substantial, and it's a serious issue. So I hope we resolve it. We'll do our best, but again, to some extent, it's humans fighting against robots. It's not exactly Terminator, but it's not fun, and it's not fun when you don't actually get to speak to a human on the other end. So we will have our class on Wednesday. It will be live in person, our Wednesday night Torah study, the book of Numbers, as we're making our way about halfway through the book, actually almost over halfway now through the book of Numbers. And then coming up in 2 weeks, we'll have a Friday service with Rick and Addie. We'll be here on the 19th for that Shabbat service. And again, before you know it, we're going to be starting to look ahead to the summer and students being out of school and some of us being in Israel. In June, it'll be here before you know it. And so those are some of the good things that we're looking forward to in the coming weeks. And I don't know, do we have any other announcements, things that we should mention? What do you think, Cheryl? You seem to know. No, you don't have anything? Cheryl's got nothing. So, but we are working ahead and looking ahead to this coming new year on our temple, which starts July 1st. So our new fiscal year, our new membership year, will also be here before we know it. So we're already working on those things. I can also tell you that we'll know for sure on Tuesday, but it looks like we'll be having high holiday services once again around the corner at Valencia United Methodist. It looks almost 90% sure we'll be using that wonderful facility again for high holidays. So that's good news. So that'll be here before you know it too. Anyways, we don't want to rush it though. We want to enjoy it as much as we can. So we're going to finish up with a couple of our final songs before we go into Oneg, and I thank Randy again for bringing that today, for sponsoring that and helping us set up. So what are we going to finish with tonight? A slide.
Not
There's a
one
slide.
day.
It's not one day.
We're on page 37, Adon Olam.
Oh, that's where we are. We're doing Adon Olam. That's Adon Olam. That's where we're going to be first. So, and then we're going to do Hatikva. We'll do Hatikva at the very end. Page 37.
Adon Olam,
Asher Mahalach, Terem Kol Yitzir Nira, Leinas. Ask everyone to rise to stand with us for Hatikva, which you can find on page 39 as we face the flag of Israel. Shabbat Shalom, everyone. Good Shabbos.
Shabbat
Good Shabbos.
Shalom.
Join us for Oneg. Thank you, everyone.